What if I told you that every ancient civilization on Earth independently created legends about massive serpentine creatures that could fly, breathe fire, and possessed supernatural powers? And what if the reason behind this wasn't just coincidence, but something far more fascinating, rooted in our deepest human psychology and actual prehistoric discoveries? Today we're diving into the incredible true origins of dragon myths that span across every continent and culture, revealing why these legendary beasts captured our ancestors' imaginations for thousands of years. Picture this scenario. You're an ancient human walking through a desert valley when you stumble across enormous bones jutting from the rock face. These aren't like anything you've ever seen from the animals around you. They're massive, with elongated skulls, sharp teeth, and wing-like structures. What would your mind immediately conclude? That you've discovered the remains of a terrifying monster, right? This exact scenario likely played out countless times throughout human history, and it's one of the leading theories behind why dragon myths emerged independently across the globe. The fossil interpretation theory suggests that ancient peoples regularly encountered dinosaur and prehistoric creature remains, but without modern scientific understanding, they interpreted these discoveries as evidence of giant reptilian monsters. When you consider that many dinosaur fossils naturally preserve in positions that could easily be mistaken for dragon-like poses, this theory becomes incredibly compelling. Ancient humans were intelligent observers of their world, and when faced with inexplicable evidence, they created logical explanations within their cultural framework. But fossils alone don't explain the remarkable consistency in dragon characteristics across cultures that never had contact with each other. This is where the predator fear theory becomes absolutely crucial to understanding the dragon phenomenon. Anthropologists have identified that dragon myths consistently combine features from humanity's most ancient and instinctual fears. The massive jaws of crocodiles, the deadly strike of venomous serpents, the aerial attack of large birds of prey, and the stealth and power of big cats. Think about it from an evolutionary psychology perspective. Our ancestors survived by developing acute awareness of these specific predator threats. Dragons, in essence, represent the ultimate predator, combining every dangerous characteristic that triggered our survival instincts into one mythological creature. This explains why dragons appear so consistently across cultures. They're manifestations of universal human fears encoded in our collective consciousness. Let's travel back to ancient Mesopotamia, where we find some of the earliest and most sophisticated dragon legends dating back over 4,000 years. The Mesopotamians didn't just create simple monster stories, they developed complex mythologies featuring creatures like the Mushushu, which translates to furious snake. This fascinating creature combined serpentine body elements with eagle talons and lion forelimbs, representing a perfect fusion of multiple predator characteristics. The Mushushu wasn't just a random monster in Mesopotamian culture. It served as a protective symbol associated with the god Marduk and was prominently displayed on Babylon's famous Ishtar Gate. This reveals something profound about early dragon mythology. These creatures weren't merely objects of fear, they were symbols of divine power and protection. The Mesopotamians understood that incorporating the most dangerous elements of nature into their protective deities would create the ultimate guardian symbols. Even more intriguing is Tiamat, the primordial chaos goddess, often depicted as a massive dragon or sea monster in the Enuma Elish creation epic. Tiamat represents the foundational dragon archetype, the embodiment of primordial chaos that must be overcome to establish order. When the god Marduk defeats Tiamat, he literally creates the world from her body, establishing the hero versus dragon narrative that would influence storytelling for millennia. The Sumerian word Ushum Gal, meaning great serpent, became the linguistic foundation for dragon terminology throughout the ancient Near East. This linguistic evolution demonstrates how dragon concepts spread and transformed as cultures interacted and traded stories. The Mesopotamian dragon legacy established templates that would influence Greek, Roman, and eventually European dragon traditions. Now let's journey to ancient China, where dragon origins stretch back an astounding 6,000 to 8,000 years, making them potentially the oldest dragon traditions in human history. The remarkable C-shaped jade dragons from the Hongshan culture, dating between 4700 and 2900 BCE, represent some of humanity's earliest artistic depictions of dragon-like creatures. These aren't primitive cave paintings, they're sophisticated carved jade artifacts that required advanced craftsmanship and cultural significance. Chinese dragon development followed a completely different trajectory than their Mesopotamian counterparts. Rather than representing chaos and destruction, Chinese dragons evolved as symbols of prosperity, wisdom, and natural harmony. The totemism theory suggests that Chinese dragons emerged when various tribal groups unified under legendary rulers like the Yellow Emperor, combining their individual animal totems into one composite creature. This explains Chinese dragons incorporate elements from snakes, fish, deer, tigers, and various other animals. Each conquered or allied tribe contributed characteristics from their protective spirits, creating an increasingly complex and powerful dragon image. The political unification of ancient China is literally reflected in the evolution of dragon imagery, making these creatures symbols of unity and imperial authority. The natural phenomena theory adds another fascinating layer to Chinese dragon origins. Ancient Chinese observers noticed connections between serpentine cloud formations, tornado movements, and the arrival of life-giving rain. Dragons became associated with weather control and agricultural prosperity because they visually resembled the natural forces that brought water to crops. Some scholars propose that encounters with giant saltwater crocodiles, which can sense atmospheric pressure changes and predict weather patterns, contributed to dragons' reputation as rainbringers. European dragon traditions developed much later, but became arguably the most influential globally due to medieval Christian storytelling and later literary works. European dragons synthesized Greek serpentine monsters, Roman military symbols, and Near Eastern fire-breathing creatures into the classic winged, four-legged, treasure-hoarding beasts we recognize today. The Greek word drakon, meaning serpent of huge size, provides the etymological foundation for the term dragon. Greek mythology featured creatures like Ladon, the hundred-headed serpent guarding the golden apples, establishing the dragon as guardian archetype. Roman soldiers carried serpentine standards called Draco, which may have influenced medieval European dragon imagery through military traditions. Persian and Babylonian influences introduced fire-breathing characteristics to European dragons. Stories like Bel and the Dragon brought Middle Eastern dragon concepts westward through trade and conquest. By the medieval period, European dragons had evolved into complex symbols representing everything from satanic evil to natural obstacles that heroes must overcome. Medieval European dragons weren't just random monsters, they served specific narrative and psychological functions. In Christian contexts, dragons represented sin, paganism, and chaos that saints and heroes must conquer through faith and courage. The dragon-slaying saint became a powerful metaphor for Christianity's triumph over older belief systems. Celtic traditions contributed unique elements like the red dragon of Welsh mythology, which became a symbol of sovereignty and national identity. Norse mythology featured creatures like Jörmungandr, the world serpent, and Fafnir, the greedy dragon, emphasizing themes of cosmic conflict and moral corruption. The global spread of dragon myths across Australia's rainbow serpent traditions, Native American serpent legends, and South American feathered serpent deities suggests something profound about human psychology. These weren't borrowed stories, they were independent cultural responses to universal human experiences and fears. What makes dragon myths truly remarkable is their persistence and evolution across thousands of years. From ancient Mesopotamian protective deities to modern fantasy literature and films, dragons continue capturing human imagination because they represent fundamental aspects of our relationship with nature, power, and the unknown. Understanding dragon origins reveals how our ancestors processed their world, transforming fear into wonder, chaos into meaning, and individual tribal identities into unified cultural symbols. These magnificent creatures represent humanity's oldest and most enduring attempt to understand and master the forces that shape our existence. The next time you encounter a dragon in any form of media, remember that you're experiencing the culmination of thousands of years of human storytelling, psychology, and cultural evolution. Dragons aren't just fantasy creatures. They're windows into the deepest aspects of human consciousness and our eternal quest to transform fear into power through the magic of storytelling.